Welcome back, painting friends. Today we're going to paint a picture of a cute little ghost with some pumpkins and some lanterns. Colors you're going to need: blue, purple, white, brown, yellow, orange, and black. I always keep my favorite 4 brushes in my studio: my 1-inch flat brush and my 10-6-in-1 round brush. Make sure to have a cup of water and a rag for keeping those brushes clean, and let's get started. I'm going to start off by adding a little bit of water to my 11x14 canvas. I want my background to go on really nice and easy and smooth, and adding a little bit of water to my canvas will help with that. So now that my canvas is just a little bit wet, I'm going to take lines of blue and lines of purple. Do you see how those colors kind of already move a little bit when the water's on there? So I'm going to take mostly lines of blue. Then I'm also going to grab in lines of purple. And I'm just going to make a top to bottom brush stroke all the way across my canvas until I have these colors where I like them. Now that I have those colors on there, I'm going to wipe my brush off and just grab some white paint and kind of drop it up at the top. And I'm just going to pull that white straight down, kind of letting my paintbrush end at different points on my canvas. And then I'm going to take just a small, super small amount of black. And I'm going to do the exact opposite thing from the bottom up, kind of bringing a little bit of that dark black up. All right, from here we're going to wash off our brush, dry it off, let it sit there. We're going to let our picture dry, and when we come back, we're going to add in the tree and the ghost along with all his little ghostly things. With our background finish, I'm going to go ahead and lay out where my trees are going to go. So for my trees, I'm just going to have a couple of branches at the top and then just one kind of main tree. So my one main tree is going to start over here, and I'm just going to kind of bring it down this way and then down. And that main tree will just kind of take up the right-hand side of this picture. I'm just using my number 6 brush and some brown paint. And then I'm going to go in and just add a little bit of black right down here on this base, so that as I kind of pull these colors in, it blends a little bit better. So just a little bit of black paint on the very tip of my brush, going back and forth. And then from there, I'm just going to add a couple more branches from this main tree. Maybe take it up a little bit higher and add some more. Now, when I make tree branches, I like to start with my brush at the very tip of the branch and just kind of bring it in and then connect it down to the tree. And I feel like that just really physically and visually kind of connects the tree to the branch. And then again, I'm going to grab just a little bit of black paint. Any place where the branches get a little bit thicker, I'm just going to add a little bit of black paint in there so that we can create what's going to look like a little bit of tree texture. And now I'm going to start at the tip of each of these. I've got a little bit of that black on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of bring every one of these down into the tree. And if you run out of black, you just grab a tiny bit more. So I'm putting brown and black on my brush. Just kind of running that all the way down to my tree trunk. All right, so that's a great looking tree. While that dries a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add just a few more branches from the other side, kind of showing that there are indeed more trees in this forest of ours. I like to make a lot of my branches look like the letter Y. I think it makes it look a little bit more realistic. Go ahead and wash that brush off. And then we're going to lay out where our ghost and our pumpkins are going to be. So I'm going to take a little bit of white paint and I'm just going to lay out right here, just like a nice tall ghost shape. If you want to have more than one ghost, you are more than welcome to do that. But let's just go ahead and paint this in white to start. And then the bottom of this is just going to be kind of a really gentle wave. And then let's lay out where our pumpkins are going to be. You can add as many pumpkins as you want to this. I'm going to put one pumpkin right over here by the tree, and I'm just going to make this almost like a little heart-shaped pumpkin. So a nice little curve to the top, and the bottom will just go straight down to the canvas. I'm going to put another one, maybe a taller one right here next to the pumpkin. Again, little heart-shaped top, kind of coming down. I'm going to put a little baby one over here, a nice little rounded one. I'm going to put a small little light purple. So I'm going to take purple and white. Little candelabra over here. Well, I guess maybe just a candle holder. But I'm going to make like a little curved line that my candle will sit on. And then a straight line down. I made that perfectly right in the open spot for those pumpkins. You can make a couple different candles if you want. Just make sure they have slightly different sizing to them. I like to do things in threes, hence the 3 pumpkins, and I'll probably put 3 candles here. Take a little bit of dark purple and put it on the bottom of the curves. And maybe just a little bit on the side too. And then this base as well. Okay, while those dry, I'm going to go back up to the top and I'm going to create a really nice light orange color. So I'm going to take orange paint and yellow paint, mix these colors together for a really nice, pretty, I might even add some white in there, for a really nice, pretty, soft fall color for my leaves. And I don't even have to mix it up all the way. I can kind of keep it a little messy. And then I'm just going to take my paintbrush and just kind of right up here, just kind of throw some of those colors on there. I don't have to fill it up all the way, just to try to get some of that purple, this is orange, up at the top of our trees. I'm going to take some of that color down here and just put a couple of little spots down towards the bottom, maybe underneath my ghost, maybe a couple falling down. With that finished, let's go ahead and lay out our lanterns. So I do want some lanterns hanging down. So I'm going to take some yellow paint and I'm just going to make a rectangle. And on the top of that rectangle, I'm just going to make a small little line that goes up and then across. I'm going to go ahead and add some yellow to the center, some really, really, really light yellow. So I'm just going to put it right on there with that white paint that's wet. And then I'm going to take a little bit of brown paint and I'm just going to kind of outline this box. I'm going to take a small amount. Whenever I make super skinny lines, you can always use a Sharpie afterwards, but whenever I make super skinny lines, I like to water my paint down just a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of bring that black paint straight down to my lantern. And then we'll finish our lantern in a minute. And you can add as many lanterns as you want. When I go into my speed painting, I'm going to add some more lanterns. Let's go back here to our ghost. I'm going to start by creating the shadows on my ghost. So I've got white paint and I'm going to grab a little bit of that light blue paint. I'm just going to go right here on the back side of my ghost and just paint a really nice light blue line. I'm going to go over it a couple times so it kind of blends in. I got out of my line, so I'm going to show you one of my tricks. I just wash my brush off, grab a little bit of water, and I can kind of just pick that color right back up. Takes a couple times and a little dries off with your rag, but that color will come right off of there. It's like an eraser trick for paint. There we go. All right, back to this. I'm going to grab some white and some blue again. And I'm going to go from each of these little parts that are down low. This is kind of where my shadow is going to be. So any part that is down low, I'm going to paint in with the light blue. And I'm just going to pull it up towards the top. Just kind of let it fade away. On this left-hand side, I'll add a little bit of white to it to help it fade a little better. But on the right-hand side, I'm going to give it just a really nice, solid, dark line. Kind of show that the shadow is getting lighter as it goes away. After this is finished, you can go ahead and grab some black. I'm going to make my eyes kind of going off to this way, and I'm just going to make 2 big black ovals. I'm really loving ghosts this holiday season. All right, let's talk about pumpkins. So pumpkins are pretty easy. You're going to start off with a layer of orange. If you want it to be a lighter pumpkin or a white pumpkin, totally fine too. Just change your color around. And then after the orange is on there, the orange is kind of meant as like a mixing agent. So you do want that orange to kind of stay wet as you're painting your pumpkin. But I like to put, like starting right here at this little curve, kind of go up and around on both sides. Just kind of fill all these little spaces in. Then I like to take a little bit of white up here at the top and kind of make some more detailed lines. And these are just going to start here and just kind of curve around. I'm not going to bring them all the way down, but I do want to make sure that some are fatter than other ones. Then I'm going to take a little bit of purple down at the bottom and do the same thing I did with the white, but just with the purple. Then I'll take that skinny little black line again, and I will just create small little curves, starting with these 2 in the center, kind of making like a little parentheses. And as I come out, let's make them a little bit bigger. You can always add a little stem top to yours. So I'm just going to use some brown and yellow paint. Start right here and just kind of make a little stem top. And add a little bit of black with some lines to make it a little bit more realistic. And then let's talk about our candles. I don't want to have white candles. I want them to look a little bit dirty. So I'm going to add just a small amount of brown to my white paint just to dinge it up a little bit. And then my candles are going to sit right on top of my candle posts. It was not dingy enough. I'm going to add a little bit more brown. I'm going to take a little bit of brown and just kind of go on this side over here. Just kind of brush that in for my little shadow. I'm going to take a little bit of bright white, just kind of make like a little bump right here. I'm just going to kind of squiggle that down. That's the candle wax that has melted. Put a small little black line right here. And then just a spot of yellow and white for my candle. Perfect. All right, back up here, I'm going to take a little bit of white and I'm just going to kind of tap a little bit of white and then a little bit of yellow on there. And then I'm going to take that yellowish white color and kind of get most of it off of my brush by just tapping it on my palette. And I'm just going to add like a couple little spots kind of coming out of it. It looks like there's light coming out. Kind of all around it, add just a little bit. And as you get further away from it, make it less so it looks like it's glowing. I'm going to do the same thing to my candle light. A little bit. All right, this is where I'm going to jump into my fast painting. I'm going to finish my candles, put a couple more lanterns in and finish off those pumpkins. I think our sweet little ghosts and painting are finished. So when you're finished, you know what to do. Find a color that's going to show up on your canvas and sign your name. I always put my initials in the bottom right corner. Remember that I never get to see what you're painting at home unless you take a picture of it and you post it to my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you're kept up to date on all of the tutorials. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.